Okay, Vikes made another move. They've actually made several moves since I last did a video, but they had a pretty big one today. We were kind of waiting on this one. I think a lot of people expected it. I kind of expected it. Um, Patrick Peterson, he's back. He's coming back for another year. Re-upped for 1 year. I forget the exact amount. It's less than what he got last year, and there's some incentive stuff in there too. But yeah, I guess he has a YouTube channel or something. He announced it on there. So he sounds very enthusiastic about coming back. There was thought maybe he wouldn't come back because the story was that big part of the reason he came here last year was because of Mike Zimmer, and obviously no Zimmer. So would he maybe want to leave? Nope. He wants to come back. It's and apparently he had a chance to go to maybe some other teams that were more like universally agreed upon as contenders, but he chose to come back here, and I think that says a lot. And I think that says a lot about there's all the narratives, the media narratives about the Vikings and Kirk and all this shit, but within the league, I think this team is thought of higher than maybe people realize, because we're getting guys to come here or come back here or redo deals, and I don't think that would be happening if we were just considered to be just an also-ran. Like, there's nothing guaranteed that we're gonna win a division, make a deep run, go to a Super Bowl, but I think these guys, I think these guys feel that we are. I think people like Patrick Peterson, Zadarius Smith didn't have to come here, but he did. I don't think we're done. We've still got cap room. Supposedly all our cap room was gone, but we're doing a really good job with this cap again. I mean, we fired Rick Spielman, but we kept Rob Brzezinski, and he's the cap genius. I don't know why. He's a genius. He's a fucking genius. He just knows what he's doing. They've made some other moves recently. They signed Shannon Sullivan. They signed Nate Hairston, Jesse Davis, offensive lineman. I'm not super familiar with any of these guys that they've signed, but they're filling out the roster pretty well. And now this is a big move for the secondary, which I think secondary and offensive line, particularly guard, are the two spots that people rightfully think are the weakest right now. But we're putting together a competent secondary at least, because Patrick Peterson was pretty solid last year. He didn't have a lot of stats. I believe his only interception all year was the one he housed against the Bears in the finale. But a lot of that's because he wasn't getting balls thrown his way, because they were throwing on Breland and throwing on Mackenzie Alexander and throwing on everybody else, because no one else could fucking defend a pass. But that Sullivan, he's probably going to play the slot as of now, and cornerback has been, for whatever you want to think of the mock drafts, that's been a very common position that we are forecasted to go for. But as of now, outside guys will be Pat P and Dantzler, with Sullivan in the slot, and then Hairston. We re-signed Ty Smith, who barely played last year, and then we still have some young guys like Hand and Boyd. I'm not a fan of Boyd, but if he's like the last guy out there, it's not a big deal. And whether we go first round or not on cornerback, we're definitely going to take multiple cornerbacks, I would think, in the draft, and probably pretty high, at least one. And there's still guys out there that we could still bring in, another veteran or a couple. But they're putting together a much improved team, and obviously, like, Peterson was here, so it's not like that's an outside addition. But I absolutely think this team is better right now than they were at the end of last year. Because the guys we've lost, the guys are gone, like Alexander and Breland, who didn't even make it the season. These guys, these are not guys who we're going to miss at all. And we're about a month from the draft. I forget what the actual date is at the start of the draft, but we're about a month out now. Obviously, all this stuff, all the free agency stuff has really slowed down a lot, which it normally does. There's still guys that we've been linked to who are out there. The Treader center, Eric Flowers guard. There's guys out there still, and I guarantee they're gonna guarantee Kwesi's always looking to grab a bargain. But we'll see. It might slow down now, even more, because now it gets close to the draft. Teams are like, well, are we really going to go spend a few million on a veteran when we maybe could just draft somebody, and then after the draft, then figure it out. But the big thing is that re-signing Pat P isn't like the final solution for the secondary. But it does kind of takes the pressure off. They're not going to feel forced to take like a cornerback at 12, and they might still take a cornerback at 12, but they're not forced to. They really are pretty much in a spot where you can go best player available. And I don't care about mock drafts at all, but you see them every day. 'Cause I don't know who any of these players are. I see names, but I don't know who they are. But they'll be in a position now where they can really go best player available, or you can trade down and get multiple picks. We'll see. But I'm really glad that Pat P's back, and they've made some nice signings and not spent a shitload of money to do it. Like even the Zadarius Smith contract is really team friendly. These kind, and everyone's ripping them, because people always got to find the negatives. So they're like, oh, they're just signing a bunch of one-year deals. Okay, so what? A lot of teams sign one-year deals. This is not exclusive to the Vikings that they're signing a one-year deal for guys. Some players just want to sign a one-year deal because maybe they think, hey, I can get back out there in a year and make even more money on maybe a long-term deal. But there's nothing wrong with signing a one-year deal. But people gotta find the negative. They can't. I mean, a lot of these are the same people who can't accept that we actually have been able to make quite a few moves to improve this team, even keeping the dreaded Kirk Cousins on the roster. But so it's a good day, another good day. Pat P coming back into the fold, and we still got some work to do on the secondary. Still got something to do on the line. The guy Davis we signed last week or whenever. I guess he's going to be expected to compete for starting right guard. There's nothing wrong with having a competition. There's going to be a competition between a bunch of guys. There's nothing wrong with that. I still wouldn't mind going out and, if you can sign someone else who's good, to come in here and just, then you have guys like Davis, and I guess they're still planning to have old Udo on the roster, so I wouldn't, but if these guys are your like second and third stringers, it's better than in some cases than having these guys as a no doubt starter. So I guess this guy Davis, he was not very good last year, but a lot of it's scheme. I guarantee just having a new offensive approach and a new scheme is going to make a big difference with all the linemen. But and it'll make a difference on defense, and everything's going to make it. I really think people underestimate how much coaching held us back last year. Not saying we were a Super Bowl team last year, but we were definitely a playoff team with just a little less shitty coaching. And I think people realize that. I think people like Patrick Peterson realize that. They're like, this can be a very, very good team, and I want to be part of it. because there were the teams listed, or maybe he mentioned it. I think maybe he mentioned it himself. Some of these other teams that, like, Tampa Bay, I think Buffalo, like, they're teams that he could have gone to and probably made similar money, maybe even made more money. But he chose to come back here because he thinks this team can really do something. And maybe we're all under a mass delusion, but I agree. I think this team is really having a really, really nice off season, and they're taking the approach that I've wanted them to. They're not blowing it up. They're not tanking. They're trying to win, and I think they're going to win. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but they are going to contend this year. And not just like fringe contention. They're going to be a very good team. They're going to be a legit threat once we get to the playoffs next year. I really believe that. So still a lot of work to do in a couple spots, but I say it on almost all these videos, man. I almost wish it was fall already. Just to see this team get going. But yeah, Pat P, welcome back. Let's get it.